one of the most basically we use mostly in the mostly for loops in any program language, for loop and while loop. So it is also used for the iteration or for the iterating over the array. But the main confusion always came that where we are going to use the for loops and where we are going to use the while loops. Remember, if the terminating condition is done, that means you know the what would be the terminating condition. Most of the time on that field we used for loops. If your terminating condition is unknown, that means from programmatically or from structurally it would decide, like suppose if this value will came, it is not decided in previous or it is not declared in previous. So on that context we used this while loop, but most of the time in Python for loop is used until and unless we are going to deal with the terminating condition. Now in as I saw in the as I saw your in the your if else block, that this in keyword has several functionality. Okay, in for loop we can also use the in keyword. So first let's start with the in keyword, then next I will show with this iteration how to iterate this one by one again and again. So suppose it will write down or directly let me write down here also. I'm creating a names. This is the list. What is this? Today I'll show you, but for now just remember this is a list. Anyone tell me it is going to throw any effect here into my structure? Say I put a different representation here. Is it okay or not? Anyone just guess it. Don't do it.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. It is okay because last day I told you that I can use this one or this one to create any string, but I cannot use this thing. You can use it. It will also, I think it also, okay, it is showing that already. Yeah. It will not throw because this string value, it is taken, it is starting with this double quotation and the ending with this single quotation. That's what it is showing there. So you can use it. Now, suppose I wanted to iterate this. So, and one thing that the loop only operate if that list, the given list is iterated. That means if there is only a iterated kind of structure, then only this for loop will execute. Otherwise, it will throw the error, or the in keyword will execute. Suppose I'm writing it a screen is hanging. One minute, my screen is hanging. I don't know why. Okay. Hmm. Actually, my see, all the RAM gets full. That's why it is hanging. Okay, EFG. Now, the loop is only work. This is kind of a iterable kind of. I can iterate over it, or if there is a one sequence like the 11, 12, 13, any sequence, we can iterate over it. But if the value is only a, we cannot able to iterate this because it will throw only one output, only one result. That's why to iterate to iterate anything using the for loop, we need a iterator or iterator kind of value. So now go to the code. Now I wanted to iterate it. So from normal, it is the generalistic way. First come the keyword for, then space, then any variable name. You can use the variable as a name. See, this name and this name is different, but it is a industrial representation we maintain. This name in names. If I print it down, see the name is came. Clear? Check it. Right, so we can iterate over English. So you don't have to check the length of it. You don't have to check either what is that, what would be the terminating condition, what is not. In Python directly you can print out if your list is iterator. I wanted to traverse the list, go with this in operator or in keyword. We can traverse the whole content. Okay, if I wanted to print the list into a single line, use the end keyword, ends with. They will print a single line. If I wanted to end with a comma, then it's a comma. Okay, clear everyone? That is the one way we can use the for keyword. Next way, let me show it. Now let me write down one value here also for the. Now I wanted to use this break or continue. First let's use break. I wanted it if the name is equals to jkl, then break the loop. For now I don't need that much. Now what happened? If the value came as jkl, then it will break the value or break the result. Now let me show it. The value break, basically the loop is break. That is the use of this break keyword. Now let it change with ghi, and if I use continue statement, what happens? If I use continue statement, then first ABC will print, then DEF will print. Next, when comes to the GHI, the executions comes up to this. Then continue statement it gets, and continue statement will not let the Python interpreter to execute the remaining lines. It will move to the console to the next one. Nothing but this JKL will printed. Okay. This GHI skip, now JKL and name are printed. Clear? Everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I use pass statement, then what happens? Nothing happens. Check. Pass it will pass the execution. It will nothing but pass the file. Basically, the whole loop will print. Here it will now what? See, whole loop will print. Okay. Now comes to the part that is in Java or any other programming language, we use that for I equal to 1. If I wanted to that kind of operator, if there is some kind certain type of arithmetic checking, arithmetic type checking, what we can use, what we can do for that part, we can use for I in range. Range is a special type of function. Now, by default, what is the value of the range? You have to provide at least some value. It takes minimum one value. Let me paint this range keywords. By default, it takes only the end value or end index, or you can say the endpoint value. So this is the start point, this is the end point, and this is the INCR or DCR, the increment or decrement operator. So by default, the start point start with 0. By default, the increment or decrease it is used as increment by 1, and you have to mention the endpoint, otherwise it will throw the error. So if I declare only 6 here and I use print block, then what happens? What is the value? What will be the value of the 6? The value of the 6 would be nothing but the endpoint value. So let execute it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now if I wanted to change it, I want to start it with from the 2. So whatever, now see, this one will not print it. The value will start from the 2, then up to continue up to 5. Sorry, value will start from the 3, then continue up to 5. Okay, clear. Why it is start from this? Why it start from this 3, 4, 5? Because as we know that this is nothing but the n minus 1. The n minus 1 from it counted from the 0 to 5 index. So that's why the total counted amount is 6, and based on that it start from the second one. Second index value is nothing but 3, so it start from the 3 and end with the index 5. Clear. Now I wanted to skip the example, so let me start it from the 0, and I want to skip one by one. See, 2 1 4, that means first one it will skip, then 2 is printed, again 3 is skip, 4 is printed, again 5 is skip, 6 is not there. So similar like the last day I show you in the string operation there. This is the if condition. Now in Python we can use the else statement. See, we can use the else statement here also. What is the function of this else statement? Nothing but it provide a confirmation that if your loop is completed. So confirm, if I use confirm, confirm. So what happened? This else statement provide the developer to confirmation that now the loop execution is done. Okay. Now how it will operate backend? How the result is operate? Because we know that this if else but only operate on the true and false boolean value. So here we are going to add it with the for statement or the for. What happened if you if you see this thing, that what is happening here? Here we are directly what is executing. If I wanted to convert it, it is nothing but the boolean true value. That means my value I wanted to, if the value is I, now I'm going to printing a I, so definitely the print I will happen. So if I arrange it with the conditional value, the conditional statement, then what will be the return? Nothing but the true. So that's why the return value is true. That's how it executed. So when this loop is done, then there is no true return value by default. Then the else is printed. Nothing but the confirmation message is printed. Now next is the nested loop. You guys know that if the loop is within a loop, then it is called a nested loop. Let me write it down once. See, now for the first, nothing but this zero, the value of zero is the first loop execution, nothing but the outer loop execution. So how many times the inner loop will execute? That means this outer loop, the outer loop executes 6 times, as the inner loop is going to execute 6 times. So outer loop is completely depend on the inner loop. So that's how we can create any nested loops kind of structure. Then we can print the some your kind of patterns. Okay, there are a lot of patterns there. I will share these patterns. Okay, let's try it. Okay. So up to this clear, everyone? These are the Python loops, nothing but the for loops. Now while loop, it also is a similar kind of this for loop. Suppose I while I greater than 6, definitely it will throw the error. And I have to increment I by 1 or maybe 2 based on your logic, that how I am going to execute. Now why the error? See, the one is showing. The one, it says that where would the I is initialized, there is no initialization value of I. So we have to initialize the I. 0 1 2 3 5. Now you can use the continue, you can use the else statement for this while loop, and for this while loop also, and it will act as a similar kind of structure. So this is the behind, this is the back end of this loops. Now using these loops and else statement, you can create any kind of your this problem, like the abstract number, where the number is odd or even, any kind of, if I am giving you one set of numbers, then you set number how many odd are present, how many even are present, you can check, you can guess it, right? Clear, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, if you are clear, then I will move to the list portion today. I think all of you heard this term array. Now you can tell me what is array.
Collection of data.
Array is a complex.
Collection of data.
Actually, I did not heard what you have said.
Collection of data. Same type
Collection
of
of
data.
data. Okay. All right. Collection of data. And others. Just guess it anyway. Others. You already unlearned Java. No? In Java, there is array kind of concept. Okay, all right. See, array is used, you can say, this collection of the similar data, you can say. And also you can say this, it is a static. That means we cannot change the size of the array, right? And again, what is the limitation? That if the array, we cannot create more than one data type inside the array. Okay. Again, and there is also similar that array is basically the traversing of the array is nothing but index based. So we need the index to traversing the array. Now, in Python, the concept of array, in Python, you can see there is a one package, one module called as array. But in Python, by default, it is supported the list data type. This array is modified into four different kind of structure in Python. One is list, second one is your tuple, third one is your set and booleans, and the fourth one is your dictionary. So, what is list? All of you, do you learn the list, array list in Java?
Yes.
Okay. This list is basically the similar kind of functionality provided in Python. Nothing but first array, it is a collection of data type. List, it is a collection of data type. Collection of data.
You can multiple variable items you can say.
We got
Dynamic.
different variable. Either it is your string type, or it is any kind of your object type, or it is any kind of your integer type. Any kind of your data types we can create and make a list of them. So collection of data with multiple data types. Second one is, it is dynamic. That means we don't have to declare anything. How the dynamicity came, that I will told you, don't worry, but it is dynamic. Okay. Now dynamic means you don't have to mention, you don't have to check that how many size of this list that is going to be happening, what will be the size of it. Basically we just declare, and this list automatically store how many data are declared. Okay. So, and the second one is, as it is a list, we can create any kind of slicing operation. The last day in the string, as I show you, list also we can create any kind of slicing operation. Okay. So list basically it is declared using the second bracket. Sorry, it is using the third bracket, or you can say brackets. And inside the bracket we can create any kind of list. Now first come this one, that is how it is going to dynamic rather than the static. Because if we think from a programmatically part, that is our RAM size is limited. So at some moment, nothing but it is also fixed, right? The RAM size, or if we say the array is static, so we define that how many memory blocks we require. But in list, how the system will define that your that amount of your data you are required, right? uh, it is very difficult, like suppose I am going to send 20 data, you can send one data, someone can send three data, four data, whatever data is. How list you going to define that? It always takes like how many data, you just take all the data and can store. From the array perspective of view, just think that the size is fixed at the behind, at the behind end, nothing but it is a similar kind of data structure where we basically stored the data. So there should be one limitation of the data structure, because there should be one boundary of this data structure, or space complexity of the data structure. Up, above this, we are not able to add or to store the data, right? So how we are going to define it as a dynamic? Are you getting what is my point, everyone? Just guess it how it is going to be dynamic. There should be somewhere like in suppose in C programming language, we guys sometimes we define directly n equal to 10, and we basically iterate over the value of n, that is from 0 to n, iterate using the for loop or while loop. Sometimes what we do, we can use, if Java, we can use a scanner class. If it is C, we can use the scanf, and we just take whatever the endpoint basically, nothing but. If I'm going to write it on this, write it down in your C language, then we use the scanf, then percentage d, then the address operator of n. Now this n, if I check that this n1 is my boundary, the integer I equal to 0, I. So if I'm going to print this, nothing but, if the n1 value is 10, then up to 10 it will print. If the n1 value is 20, then up to 20 it will print. How many value, how what would be the value that we are basically passing from the console, right? So that's how we can creating a dynamic list. Clear? We can create a dynamic loop, not list. Here from the program we can say we can create a dynamic loop. Clear, everyone? Any issue here? Now listen this thing or see this thing very carefully. Suppose if n1, now based on this n, if the n value is 10, then the list is be 10. If the n1 value is 3, then the list will be 3. That means the iteration, the loop iteration will be 3. If the list value is 20, then iteration value will be 20. Now my question is that we see that either we are going to define it manually or not, at the end point it is fixed, nothing but the value is 10 or 3 or 20. So how we are going to say that it is dynamic? In which context we can say that it is dynamic? Okay, all of you getting my point?
Yes.
Now my next question is, suppose it is my list, here is on 3 item. So I cannot put more than 3 item into that list, nothing but the L2. Okay, so how basically we are creating the dynamic list? Now anyone just guess it, how? Then I will show you actual result. The answer is very easy and very simple.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
I am saying about, see, this, suppose this is my array. Okay, I am going to, nothing like that, I am going to print based on the end value. The end value is taking from the user end n1, right? Think is that instead of printing here, I am saving the value into an array, any array. So if the array size is 3, then we can add only 3 element there. More than 3 element we cannot add it, right? So at the end it is a static. Clear? Now
Yes, sir.
we are saying that the list are dynamic. So how basically, suppose here we are getting that the value is 3, nothing but the value is static. Now in list also, in every data structure, the iteration or any kind of iteration, the backend, the array will work. Either it is list or your set or your dictionary, anything is there, a list, a array will in the backend it will work, only it will operate. Now we are saying that list is dynamic. So how basically the dynamicity comes, or from where basically the dynamicity comes. I'm showing directly that now the first size is fixed 3 because we have put it, or we have set up the value is 3, not the dynamic value. Getting it? What is my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very, the answer is very easy. One thing.
Sir, because of the loop.
Mm, no, not because of the loop. Suppose first at the first time I have only five element. Okay. So what happened? I store the five element. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. See the limitation of this first list is 5. So I stored the five element. What happened in the next? Suppose I wanted to add the next one element. So in list we can add it. I will show you. We can easily add it. We can easily delete it. Anything in here because it's dynamic. So what happened? Suppose next I have on 3 item came. So what happened in the backend? Basically, by default, that interpreter create a size of 8 list. It will copy the whole element here and add the 3 remaining there, then provide that complete list to the output user. Now we are saying, okay, now list is dynamic. In the backend, it is what? Just like that. Clear? All? It is very easy.
So it will automatically create, no?
Yeah, it automatically create, it automatically copy all the value from the first list from to the second list and add the new value what is came, then delete the previous one, it will be deleted, and this is a new reference of your list, it is assigned to the variable, nothing but if the variable is list one.
Sir, that part done through the loop now.
Hmm? Yeah,
Sir,
at
that
the
part
backend
done.
obviously you need the loop.
Yes,
How
sir.
could you basically if you gone through the C programming language, it is very basic, it is the uh, close to your logical level. Like you have to suppose you have the addition, you have to provide all the instruction one by one by one of the line. But in Python or in Java or in object, something is hidden. You don't have to write. Suppose to checking the string is reverse or not. In C programming language, you have to check either what is the last value of it. Then you have to read from first line to the second line. Then you have to copy it from one by one. Then you have to make it as reverse, and that's how you can use. But in Python or C, Java programming language, we can use a single method and we can basically provide the output. So in the backend, definitely we use that array in the backend, that in the above lower end. This is nothing but our array, the loop, the logical statement. These are the code structure we use. Clear? So let me show you some method first.
So basically, dynamic is you can it is mutable, right?
Dynamic. No, mutable is different kind of concept. That is nothing relation with the dynamicity. Mutable means we can edit this thing, we can update this thing. This is the mutable.
Okay.
We can change. So
Mm.
list is nothing but it is mutable. List is mutable.
At least is mutable. That right.
That is one of the key functionality. That is, we know that string is not mutable, but list is mutable. I mistake is mutable. Okay, so let's start with the string of list operation. If you need this code, you can ping me in the group. Okay, I will share this code. Sometimes I forgot. The last day I forgot it to share the code file. So first I am getting the list. So if I use the list, see the color change. You can clearly see this thing. Nothing but this list is inbuilt keyword into my Python. So don't use inbuilt keyword. As I told you, I'm using a different keyword. Now, if I say mostly, we can say that fruits name to list. I am directly define the list in a static way. That means the value come. I am directly assign the value. Next day I will show you that how to take input, and the next day I will show you that how to create this dynamic from user. We can get the value and we can set the value here also. So as I told you that we can put any value there also. See, there is no error. We can set any value, anything into that list. Now to get the, this is one of the key method to get the length of the value. Use the alien function. Alien, then inside the bracket the fruits name. So this thing I don't need it. So let value is 4. Now to iterate it, to iterate all the value, we can use for I in range. How to iterate? There is one or two way we can iterate. One is, this is one way you can iterate the list. You can check the length on the procedure way. Fruits name, then print I. This thing, you know, similar kind of structure. So this is the index based iteration I perform. The I contain the index of this individual. The index of the apple is 0, banana is 1, cherry is 2, watermelon is 3. Now let me open this, the value based iteration. The second one is the value based iteration. Here we are basically into that fruit, the apple value directly contains. So this fruit has the apple value, but into this I nothing but the index of this fruit name content. So in Java, if you had gone through with this for loop and for each loop, then these two has basically a similar functionality. For loop normal provide the index based iteration, and the for each loop provide the value based iteration. In Python, this is the similar kind of using the for loop, just changing only the operator type. We can use the similar kind of functionality.
Right now.
One is the value based iteration, the second one is the index based iteration. Okay. Now, now let's start the slicing. So slicing, I already told you the last day. So let me first. So which value will came now? If I provide, I'm just commenting because it will be taken and again. If I print out, then what will the output? Output nothing but the apple. The value nothing but watermelon. Now nothing but the watermelon, the last one. Clear? If it is 3, then up to 3. Now if it is 4 and I use 2 sequence, What happened? One by one, it will execute. It will jump from one to another. See, apply and check. Similar kind of slicing operation. If you wanted to reverse it, then just -1. You can use this thing. Clear? This is slicing operation of the list. Clear, everyone? Now, I wanted to add some value. Directly we can write fruits name equals to now this guava will be added into the fruit name. Let me check it whether it is game or not. It has not come. Wow. Okay. Again, I can do that part from the append is one kind of method. It will directly add to the value. Clear? This is append function. So there is lots of method is there in list.
Sir,
Yes.
so if you want to put the value in the index part, so what are
Then what happened? List never ever override the file. Suppose I wanted to add, let me write fruits name of 3 into the 3 location. I wanted to add suppose x y z. What happened? What is the location 3? Nothing but cherry. Now it will not replace, the position will replace. So let me show you. It will move to the next one, next side. See, x y z. This cherry it remains, but the x y z is added to the list. In list, the duplicate value is possible. We can add the duplicate value. Second one is into that list we can create into the list we cannot override a value. Okay, suppose I wanted to add the banana will add there also again and again once more, but it cannot be overridden.
You just written that 3 equal to XYZ. The watermelon got replaced, right?
No, it nothing. I told you no replacement is not happen into the list. It basically added to the list onto that position. Basically, after that position list is coming. See what is the position 3? Nothing but this is position 0, 1, 2, 3. Now into that position is replaced. That means into the third position, nothing but from this array index into the third position, the value xyz is inserted. But either this guava, it is going to replace or not? No, it is not replaced. The guava is still there. Okay.
Sir, how can I delete XYZ now?
I will show you. In you can delete this 2 to 3 way. You can use the pop method, you can use the remove method. Okay, using the remove method you can directly delete the, let me show you. Dot. See, there are a lot of methods are there but similar. Use the remove method. Remove, provide the name, nothing but suppose xyz. Now if I print the value, this value is added. Now if I going to the variable operator, now see what is the food. Okay, I need this thing. I need thing also. I need thing also too. I didn't print to that. See, the value is ready. Okay. Now if you wanted to, yes,
Can you do the same by defining the index value?
yeah, you use the pop method.
Oh,
Pop, pop.
okay.
Post name dot next one. See, there's a lot of methods there. I'm just saying it directly. You can practice. One is clear will clear out the all method, clear all the value that is present into the list. Copy, it will copy the list from, copy one list from another list. The copy count is nothing but to checking that, suppose I'm checking the apple value of apple, so I'm checking that apple how many times is present in my list or not. Similar kind of your the string that I showed you. Next is extend. The extent I will show. Index, you already know what is the index value of it. Then you can check it, index. Just go there and check. I want to do index of apple. The value is 0. Okay. Next is, if I use a clear, then what happens? It will clear out the list. See, none. No list is written, so this the value came as a none. So the variable, see the fruit name. Now the fruit name, the list is empty. Now if I want to copy, so copy, suppose I'm providing a list to next. So we say what happened, it will copy the list into the fruits name. So if I run the file, it will copy the list and provide the output is nothing but that. So as now fruit name is empty, I have to change this all. I have to comment out this content all. So that is throwing the user fruit name, okay. Okay, if I run the file, now see the value is written. This is the return value. So we can add here, I can create any other. Okay, suppose any other list equal to fruits and copy, then the second list will copy into the first one. That's why you can copy the file. Okay, so next is, there is a lots of methods and the similar of your one is the reverse. See, reverse. Okay. If I use the reverse, what happens, the list will print reversely. Reverse take one argument. Okay, and one thing remember, suppose new list, it will throw the error. Whenever you are going to create any list, first either you have to assign it with a direct value or you have to initialize it with a single one, like new list equals to this one. You have to use it, otherwise it will throw the error. Let me check it once. No, maybe I mistyped something here. Okay, I will check the reverse method. if I use new list equals to fruit name means that is already present, my other list. Fruit name multiply by 2. What happened? The list in between multiply by 2. So what is present into my that list, it will again multiply by 2 and they assign within the new list. So if you write it down, see, each value will be duplicate the second one. That means up to that is my first list value. And is multiplied by 2, that is the value will be again incremented by 2. So 2 times each of the value would be present. If it is multiplied by 3, then 3 times each of the value would be present into my list. Clear, everyone? Now,
Sir,
next is yes,
so in this case, the list size will increase.
list value.
Yes.
Yeah, list value definitely will increase. What this is the return value of this fruit. If I multiply with this list with any arithmetic operator, what happens? Each of the value will be multiplied by that number of times. That means first the value is apple. Now if I multiply it by 2, so there will be 2 apple into that list. Okay.
If the list size is fixed, then
List size cannot be fixed. List size, first time I told you that list is dynamic. List
okay.
is always dynamic. List type cannot be fixed.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But by forcefully, there is no thing. Actually, I think if I used final variable, okay, that will show in the already concept. So leave it for that one. Actually, in Python, when you're if you are going to build any model, you will find out that we will not so much involve in the object oriented part, that we only need that amount of concept to create that class, and inside the class the method defines all the properties, and as well as the constructor, and that's all. But there are several other object oriented concept in there in any software development domain. But in that, using the Python, we basically use the contextual part to build the domain. We will not move to this we will not move to the core part of this object oriented concept. Instead of that, we use this different kind of data structure. It will provide more less time complexity rather than the first one result or first one procedure. Okay, all right. So next is you can create a nested list. Let me create your nested list. Okay. This thing you will find out mostly in the matrix section. See, this is a nested list.
So it will basically create a sub list.
You can say, because I told you that inside the list we can store anything, any kind of object, either it is a list object or dictionary object or any kind of other kind of object, either it is unpickled object or pickled object, anything we can store. What is pickled and what is unpickled, that I show you the next day, don't worry. But we can store anything inside the list, anything.
For which
That's
purpose use nested list?
nested list. Okay, good question. uh, in the next few days, after that, when we move to the data science domain, one kind of structure you will find, that is a numpy. Okay, nested list is used mostly your kind of arithmetic operation in the core level of arithmetic operation, like some kind of a statistical operations, or make kind of some deep level of your statistic operation. That's why we use a nested list. The second one is this nested list. We can say nested list, here we are seeing that this is also a list and it is present inside that list also. That kind of structure we can use. Suppose this is your object. In list, we represent each of the value as an object. Either it is list object, or it is a tuple object, or it is some kind of another object. Okay. And the third is suppose you are creating a complex kind of structure. Okay. Maybe some kind of your a matrix multiplication or matrix addition. On that kind of structure, you can use this nested list.
Okay.
2D array, I think you have heard of. So instead of 2D array, you can use this format, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, there are three elements in this nested list right now.
Yeah. In this outer list, we can say there are 3 elements, and into this inner list, there are also 3 elements. Okay. Now, suppose I wanted to, if I do this thing, then what will it print? Definitely print this one. This is the first object of this list. See, if I use this one, then what it will print? It will print first from the first list. Again, what is the second one? Is nothing but the one. Clear? If I do again 0, what happened? Because up to that, see, if I'm talking about the dimension, then we can say this is a 2D kind of representation. This is a one dimension, and you say the another dimension is present. First dimension is represented by that. Second dimension is representing by that. But is there a third dimension here? No. If there is another list is present inside, then we can create this third dimension, and it will get more complex kind of structure. So that's why it is say that this integer object, it is find out that into that there should be one this kind of object, a list kind of object, and there should be one value present. So it is finding. So where is the integer value? What is the integer value? Okay, there is no integer value. That's why it is through that integer object is not subscriptable. That which is not present here into my list. Clear all?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's all for the today. One thing is remaining, that is the list comprehension. But I think first today go with this loop. If today I start the comprehension technique, then what happened? It will skip the what I told you. Go with this thing first. So next day I will show you the one part. Another part is remaining, that is string formatting, that I will show that how to modify a string. And the second one is that you can note it down, the string formatting. Second one is that comprehension technique, why how we can create comprehension technique, and the comprehension technique is basically very necessary. Comprehension technique, and third one is the lambda function. These 3 things is very much important. Okay, so I will share this code by today, and go with this, practice it with.
Sir,
And if
can
you
you
have,
show me the homework part?
yes, I will share this sheet also,
Okay, sir.
this one. Oh, until last day I forgot it. Okay, so any doubt from today's session, or I will stop today's session?
No doubt.
Okay, good.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, Shomuk sir made me host. He told me to end the meeting after you have completed.
Okay, then my session is done. You can complete.
Okay, sir. I am ending the meeting.
Yes.